up into the neon light, a journey through the past.
Just kidding. We are not using that as our new theme song. Don't worry, Scott. Don't worry, everybody. I know you love the song from last week, but we don't need that AI shit. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Too Much CGI. I'm Bill. Here, as always, with Scott. How are you? I wanted to see your face when I played that. I was hoping you'd go, oh, God, no, he's not really using this, is he?
I was waiting for it. I was actually waiting to see if you were going to play it or if we were even going to have an opening song this week. I wasn't sure how you were going to play that.
Oh, my gags are see-through. You know everything I'm going to do next. Damn it. Well, hopefully the audience was entertained, even though you weren't, Scott. Scott, how you been?
I'm good. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
All right. Kind of a busy week. Kind of been down in the weeds.
Oh.
I don't have anything going on that I'm watching. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to talk about today. You got any ideas?
Well, we did take in the newest edition of Ghostbusters this past weekend.
Ghostbusters!
Did we like it? Yeah.
I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no emotional reaction to it whatsoever.
That is the saddest thing. All right, so we'll talk about Ghostbusters. Frozen Empire, I was called it Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
But technically, I guess it's Ghostbusters 5, if you count the women's one. So, yeah, why don't we dig in? We'll talk about that. I can tell you, I went in, when we went to see that movie, I was excited. Woke up that day, I was like, I can't wait. I remember the last movie, Afterlife, was a little bit like, well, you didn't have to bring Gozer back. And like, you didn't have to go that close to the first movie to entertain us, but you did. And the movie was okay. So I'm like, not a bad start. It can only get better from here.
Nope.
Whoops. I meant to say, we're fucked. There's no way they're going to find any way to make this franchise work. I'm to the point now where I'm convinced that this movie was only meant to be one movie. When, who made it? It was
Jason Reitman.
Ivan Reitman. When Ivan Reitman.
Oh, you mean the original?
Well, he made a new one. Yeah, the originals. When they tried all the cast, Reitman, Aykroyd, Ramis and Bill Murray and everybody who got together, they couldn't make the second one happen because they couldn't find a fun enough story. They couldn't find jokes. They couldn't get it timed right. Somehow, eventually, it came out. The reason they never had a third one is because they looked at the second one and said, yeah, see, we shouldn't have done that.
The second one was definitely not as good as the first one. And I know that it kind of got panned quite a bit. I mean,
yeah,
it was not good. And like, it was all like, degrading from there. It wasn't going to get any better.
I don't think it was a comedy. There wasn't a single funny line in the movie. But, that's from the masters who made the first one. They couldn't even pull off a second one. Now they're like, hey, we're going to make a whole universe in the Ghostbusters world. I don't know, man. After seeing this last movie, I don't think there's enough fuel in the tank for a Ghostbusters world.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing as far as having it based around that Spangler family. Like, I do like the Paul Rudd and the McKenna Grace and what Finn Wolfhard. Like, I do like that whole family aspect of it and like them kind of inheriting and keeping on the Spangler name. But we were driving away from the theater talking about how there's just too many people to shoehorn into this movie. Like, Ernie Hudson was there, Bill Murray was there, Dan Aykroyd was there, Annie Potts was there. They were all fucking there. And it was like, for most of the big major, and by the way, no spoilers in this review, because honest to Christ, it is impossible to spoil this movie. If you saw a preview, every major scene in this movie. They showed you everything in this movie. And I'll get back to that in a little bit. But for some major parts of this movie, the cast had to be like pinned up against a wall, or like they had no role in the actual action of the movie. They were just there, and they were only brought back almost just for fan service. And to that point, I think you were saying when we were kind of trying to process what we just saw, too much fan service?
I think so. I mean, the end of the movie was the exact end of the movie of the last movie. Guess who shows up? It's the old Ghostbusters. They're working alongside the new Ghostbusters. It was the exact same ending.
Yeah.
Like, come on. The end of Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, they walk out to a cheering New York. The end of this one, they walk out to a cheering New York. Like, I get what you're doing. You're making a movie for us, right? The old people that remember the original and our kids. Okay, so I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to make something that's a little bit more for everybody, and you struck out. It didn't work because it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I don't know who it was for, really. There wasn't enough in this movie to hook a new fan, I don't believe.
I still can't tell you what the story is.
I was just going to say, it was like a series of events with no real character building, for as badass as this main bad guy was supposed to be. They didn't really make me care about him the way they made me care about Gozer in Ghostbusters 1, or even the Scourge of Carpathia in Ghostbusters 2, whatever the fuck, what was the painting's name?
I forget.
Vigo, the Scourge of Carpathia.
Wow, you have a great memory.
I know stupid shit.
Wow.
Well, this is why you don't follow Star Wars or Game of Thrones. You don't know the characters' names, Bill.
If your name's not Bob, I'm going to forget it.
So, back to the spoilers. I mean, again, if you saw the trailer, you know everything that this movie is going to bring you. The very first trailer that they dropped was the Super Bowl commercial. And they show Coney Island Beach get completely frozen over. And when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, like we're really going to build somewhere.
Nope.
Like you said, wrong. It doesn't get any more visually impactful. That was really the most exciting part of the movie. And we all saw it back in January during the Super Bowl or online. If you're not a sports fan, that was the pinnacle of this movie. And that was the first preview. And that's a real fucking problem when you're trying to get people into the theaters. Or maybe it's not, because we went to go see it. They already got our money. What the fuck do they care?
I mean, could it be that they were like, this movie kind of sucks, and well, let's do a pass on the trailer. And then they looked at the trailer and said, this didn't excite me. Add a little bit more. Then they add a little more. That's still not good enough. Add a little more. They're like, all right, this is all we got. If they come back and ask for more, we're fucked because there's nothing left.
And it doesn't stop there. I mean, all the funny parts in the movie, and this isn't like funny parts like I think, oh, this is hilarious. Like, the only time people in the theater around us laughed, Paul Rudd quoting the Ghostbusters theme song when he's given a passionate speech. In the trailer. Slimer's return. In the trailer. Even a part of the post-credits scene was shown in one of the trailers. So, like, there were no secrets kept about this movie. Everything that was going to happen was shown in a preview at some point along the way.
I think there's one secret. There is a character.
There's one whole sub-storyline that we don't know anything about until you see the movie, and it really doesn't pay off at all.
It makes
no
sense.
It's so unimportant. It makes no impact on the movie at all.
When I see stuff like that in the film, that's the scene that we're talking about. We won't spoil it for you, but it's,
Right.
It's clearly something that's a little bit like, it's like a splinter in the show, because you're like, this doesn't fit. This kind of hurts. This doesn't even feel like Ghostbusters. It's painful to watch, but it's when they start adding stuff like that, it makes me think that the story's just, they made too many tweaks, and now they're getting to the final days of production. They're like, oh shit, we better figure out a way to make this work. I have a dumb idea. Let's just throw it in. Because maybe one day I'll go and read the original shooting script, but I guarantee this is another one of those movies like Madam Web that Sony just put out. This is also put out by Sony, where the whole story just got shuffled during production. So,
yeah.
I mean, do you think that might be right? Do you think this was the story that was in the script?
When this part of the story started, I was 95% sure they were going to show a ghost Ivan Reitman again, and I was going to have to walk out of the theater because I was oh, God damn.
An Egon Spengler ghost, right?
Yeah, but they didn't.
No.
But that's where I thought they were going, but that may have been the original story. Like, who the hell knows?
They did that fucking thing that I can't stand. So here's a spoiler. Close your ears if you don't want to hear it. It's not really a spoiler because you saw it in the damn commercial, to Scott's point. The kid goes and mom says, you're 18 now. Go handle something. Kid goes upstairs. There's a ghost upstairs eating all his trash. It's Slimer. All right. That's the gag. The kid doesn't come downstairs and say, hey, mom, there's a ghost up there. Like, that's something you come down and tell your mom. The other little girl, when she did the thing in the movie that she did with the character that, I don't want to ruin it for you, but you go back to your mom and you say, this incredible thing just happened. Nope, they didn't do that either.
Yeah.
It just, the story didn't make sense.
No, I agree with you there.
I got up and walked out at that one point because frankly had to pee, but I was really just like, I'm so annoyed and bored. I got super bored, and I left at the scene when they were in the library, and there was an extra, shot of fan service for me, and I just looked at you and I went, I hate this.
Those were your exact words.
Yeah, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and even that character was in the trailer. Yeah, they bring back the ghost librarian, and it wasn't terrible. It was a throwaway thing. But again, too much fan service? I don't know. I kind of liked it because I said to you, they never did go back and catch the librarian in Ghostbusters 1. She would still be there.
But people would see her.
Well, people do see ghosts. Because you said that, the guy, I forget the actor's name. The guy that has no dick.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Peck.
From Ghostbusters 1. Peck, yes. So he's now the mayor. And he's still out to get the Ghostbusters. He still has a vendetta against them. He wants to take the firehouse. And you said, how can he possibly say there's no such thing as ghosts when everybody's seeing ghosts? That's not really his thing anymore. His thing is just like, you cause too much destruction of city property. I'm going to get your firehouse and shut you down. It was more of a personal thing. It wasn't, in the first movie, his whole thing was, you're charlatans, you're frauds. That kind of wasn't his thing anymore because, I mean, the whole thing starts off with them chasing a ghost right through, Times Square, basically.
Another thing about it that I thought was interesting is how they got Dan Aykroyd a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
So even though the other Ghostbusters, well, one's dead. Ernie Hudson's awesome in it, but he's not nearly in it as much as Dan Aykroyd. And then here comes Bill Murray, who they hired for the day to get his scenes in. But I did like seeing more of Dan Aykroyd and learning a little bit more about Ray Stantz and what he's become as an adult. I kind of like Zedmore's, But what happened to Bill Murray? He still just tests people.
Where's Peter?
Yeah, that was about it. He was trying to do his telekinetic testing thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's just, come on. You couldn't come up with anything better than this movie.
I will say, of all the parts that were in it, it was very well acted. Everybody that was in it did a great job as an actor acting their part. I mean, it was good in that way. I just wish they had a better script.
I think I said that to you. I loved every character's performance. I hated the story, hated the movie. But that's the first time where I was like, I actually liked the whole, except for that kid Podcast. What an insufferable name they call the kid Podcast. I hate that kid.
You're just hung up on his name, though. I mean, he played the same character he played the first go around. I thought that was who the character was. I think he kept it going well.
I don't know. At this point, you'd think the Ghostbusters wouldn't be a family with an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, but maybe by the time they get to this movie, they might have hired a couple more adults. Nope. Nope. All kids.
It did take place 3 years after the Afterlife movie. And again, like you said, back in New York City, of course, that was the big drawback for the nostalgia. They're back in the firehouse and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I mean, you say you hate this movie. Like, when I say I had no emotional connection to this movie, it did nothing it didn't move the needle at all. Like, I can't even, to hate something, you have to be really passionate. I can't even say I hate it. Like, I just don't care. It's something I watched. If I didn't watch it, I would have been at home watching something on YouTube and kind of feeling the same way. And it's not the way I should feel after seeing a movie that made $45 million on opening weekend.
Wow. Wait, is that a lot or a little? I don't know. That's a little.
I don't know.
That seems like a little now that you say it.
45 mil over 3 days? I don't know.
And how much do you think it cost to make that?
Oh, a couple hundred.
Yeah. So maybe it's a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
What's it up against?
Yeah, you know what? I can't even remember any other movie being advertised. There were trailers, but they weren't movies that are out.
I saw a poster for Monkey Man, which I saw a trailer for maybe a month ago, but I don't think this was a big movie weekend.
No. Is that out, Monkey Man?
I think so. There was a poster on the front of the theater.
I saw the trailer for that. So that's a, who's the guy? He made Nope.
Yeah, Jordan Peele.
That's it. Yeah, it's like a action movie that he made. I looked at the trailer. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm in. I like Monkey Man. I'm going to watch Monkey Man.
So you mentioned the trailers in the movie, and I can recall two of the trailers. There's probably more, but I remember two that stood out to me. One was a movie you'd mentioned a few weeks back, The Borderlands.
Yeah, I think this was a new trailer.
I think I looked at you and I was like, this feels like Suicide Squad meets Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing.
You actually said that. I was like, that's a perfect call. Like, it even has like 60s hippie rock playing in the background like Guardians of the Galaxy did, you know. It's colorful like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's totally inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy. But I got to say, this trailer made me more excited for it than the other one. Now, I don't know that it's probable that I saw this trailer the first time, but this time I think it's better, even though it's the same stupid trailer and I'm dumb and don't realize that it is different. But something about it worked. Maybe it was the big screen, seeing it on the big screen versus seeing it on my little phone when I watched the trailer first. But these movies, you know, when they get that big, like watching these big movies on little phones, little computers, it doesn't work. It's not the same. You go to a big theater, it's such a different experience. Some movies are made for the theater.
That was probably the best theater I've been in quite some time. I don't think I've been in a movie theater that nice since I saw The Haunted Mansion a couple summers back. I mean, when that bass kicked in or an explosion happened, that entire fucking theater was shaking. That was a really cool experience.
I think that experience watching that trailer was better than the whole movie. Because it felt like a Disney ride. I was like, I mean, one of Disney's VR rides.
It really did, yeah.
It was loud.
You're not wrong. Yeah, but Kate Blanchett was there, and Kevin Hart, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and that girl that played Ahsoka. I forget what her name was. And Jack Black's doing the voice of...
Yeah.
That's right.
Something Ariana Greenblatt.
Ariana Greenblatt, that's right. And then Jack Black's there doing the voice of some robot. And it's really a haphazard cast of characters, but it seems sarcastic and funny, and they're just out there killing a bunch of faceless drones, it seems.
What else could you ask for?
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect movie. Sure, AI wrote it.
It's definitely a popcorn movie. This isn't winning movie of the year or any kind of cinematic awards of any kind, but yeah, well, it's not what it's there for, you know?
Well, going back to Ghostbusters, I can tell you there was one scene that I liked and I wanted more of. It's when Ernie Hudson was talking to Dan Aykroyd. At one point, they're like, you know, why are you in the field, Dan? You're an old man. This should be our golden years. I enjoyed that. There wasn't enough of that. I think only in the earlier Ghostbusters, there was only one or two times where people ever talked to each other about things that weren't related to the action happening there. So we never really got to know who these people are as characters. That's one weird thing about the Ghostbusters. We really don't know a lot about them. So I do like when we get those little peeks into their personal life and their feelings. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. But normally Ghostbusters is so superficial that they never get that deep at all. Like, would you have liked more Bill Murray having conversations, or was he just right for this movie? He's meant to come in, do quips, and remind you of the good times from the 80s. I can't even imagine him having more lines in this thing than he already had.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a whole different movie. I almost feel like they'd have to get away from the Spangler family aspect of it and just focus on the original guys.
Yeah. And at this point, you know, the reason I'm so bad, it's like we could have had so many good movies from now to back then, between now and back then.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't get a Ghostbusters movie together.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think that maybe there aren't good stories in this universe that could work, because nobody can seem to come up with them except for one. And that movie was already done.
Yeah, and you were kind of worked up about the movie we got. Again, when we were driving and processing what we just saw, I think I asked you, I was like, so if not this, like, do we just get a whole lot more of the same four guys doing the same thing over and over again? Because then we'd be bitching about that too.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the happy medium is, but, and again, I didn't hate this. I mean, here's my final takeaway on this movie. If it's on Max and you're looking for something to watch, click the play button and stick with it for as long as you can, because, you know, you're probably going to be on your phone, because this isn't really something that's going to hold your attention. This didn't do anything for me. I can't shit on it, and I really can't say good things about it. It happened, you know? It's there.
I was talking to Amy, my wife, and I was saying like how upset I am with all the Marvel shit going to hell and the Star Wars stuff going to hell. And I said, and we were talking about the Acolyte stuff that you and I were talking about. And I was like, yeah, you know, this movie just isn't for me. And I said, I guess that's okay. I just have to accept that these movies are not made for my kind of fandom. And this is another movie that I could have done without seeing. Maybe that's my problem. These things, they're just bringing them back from our day, and they're saying, I know who our audience is, and I know what they like. It's everything in this first movie, but we just can't deliver the first movie again. We have to deliver a different type of movie. It's 2024.
Yeah.
And I want 1984 movies. So what the hell can I do about it, right? So, when Amy's like, why you get so mad at this stuff? I'm like, well, it's like your favorite football team. When the Eagles are doing shitty, you boo. Well, I'm booing. I'm booing at Ghostbusters. They did a shit job.
I think booing's one thing, but I think speaking with your wallet's another. So there you have it.
Yeah, we spoke with our wallet. Gave them too much money.
I was going to say, they got our money. What the hell do they care? There was one other trailer that I mentioned. There were 2 trailers I can remember. The other one was a movie called Tarot, like tarot cards. And I think I leaned over to you and I said, is this a new Final Destination movie? Because I thought that's what it looked like. It was, a bunch of young kids getting murdered off one by one. And there's a girl doing tarot cards and things. And you had a pretty visceral reaction to that.
I really am turning into a prude, aren't I? So these scary monsters and this scary killing and blood splattering everywhere. And all I can hear are little voices of kids from 6 to 10 hanging out behind me, waiting to watch the Ghostbusters movie. And I'm just like, holy shit, this trailer, that was intense for some little kids.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the movie was PG-13 rated, which, okay, maybe, like, I don't know. But whatever they showed in that tarot trailer was head and shoulders above anything graphically that they showed in the Ghostbusters. Like, it did not match at all, One thing I'm surprised we didn't get a Beetlejuice 2 trailer. I feel like that would have been the same crowd that they would have wanted to, advertise to.
Plus, that trailer is online, so yeah, why wouldn't they? I wonder if there's a rule about, well, not a rule so much as a procedure, like if you're Sony, you only show certain movies.
They wouldn't show that because it's going to be from Universal?
I don't know, like a competing studio. Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about this before, but how do they choose what trailers to show before what movie?
Huh. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, but that's something I was expecting to see as a trailer, but it just didn't come. Oh, and I'm sorry. Not Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice.
Which I guess is the new name.
I guess there's been a title change. I have no idea.
I didn't sign off on it.
But for any thinking individual that knows anything about the movie, you can only imagine that they're hinting towards a trilogy, and we're going to get Beetlejuice coming out in probably the next 4 years.
Well, after this Ghostbusters, I'm not even sure if I'm excited for Beetlejuice. I'm just like scared now of everything. Well, I'm so disappointed by these things lately.
Here's the funny thing about Ghostbusters and about this new title change for Beetlejuice. They really are putting the cart before the horse with these projected sequels, because I already read a story that the post-credit scene for Ghostbusters that I said already was kind of already ruined or spoiled, or at least featured in a trailer. They're already saying that could be an indication as to where the third installment of this new Ghostbusters reboot will be going to. So they're already planting the seeds for a sequel to this one.
Yeah, without ruining it for anybody, it was obvious that this is the ending that's supposed to extend into the next movie if there's going to be one.
Sometimes shit happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you going to call?
Here's another thing I want to talk about. Kind of Ghostbusters adjacent. Going into this movie, I really tried to stay as spoiler-free as I possibly could. So, news stories, I quickly swiped past. I didn't want to see headlines. I didn't want to see anything at all. And maybe 20 minutes before I drove to your house, I read a headline that I thought ruined the biggest thing for me. And I can't call it a fuck-uppery because all I read was the headline and I didn't want to. And I was like, get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head. Fucking Google Discovery fucking ruined it for me. And here's what happened. All I did was Google showtimes for the movie so we can make plans to go see it. And since I Googled it, all it wanted to show me were fucking headlines about Ghostbusters. And I was trying to avoid it as much as I could. Completely impossible. So
the algorithm got you.
The algorithm got me. And I knew that there was going to be a post-credit scene. I actually thought there was going to be 2 post-credit scenes.
That's right.
And
You
I
did.
told you, dude, we sat there so long. Like, I swear the projector turned off and I was like, wait for it. It's still coming. Wait for it.
It had the whole thing. Like, the damn lights went on, and Scott's like, it's coming.
It's coming. It's going to happen, man. And if it would have happened, it would have been enough to really maybe even change my entire attitude about the movie. I thought Rick Moranis was going to come back in a post-credit scene.
Yeah, what did you do? Did you read that? Was that the spoiled thing that you read and it was false?
So I went back to try and find the article that I quickly skimmed past the first time because I was trying to avoid it, like I said. And it said post-credit scenes and Rick Moranis. And then it went on to say something like why he and Sigourney Weaver's character were not in this movie. And it said, well, there really wasn't an opportunity to bring him in, but maybe we'll bring him back for the next one or in the future or something like that. So it was one of those clickbait articles that made me think that we were going to get a Rick Moranis post-credit scene that just didn't come.
Well, that made me sit in the theater longer, which made it longer to get home. And about 10 minutes before we got home, I had to pee so bad. How fast was I driving?
You weren't the only one that was about to piss your pants, I'll tell you that.
We're getting old. Brutal. Well, moving on down the agenda, here's a cute little thing that I decided to write down. So I was looking at our listeners through analytics. I know that's a thing that you love to do. And I was looking at all the different things that people listen to us on. So what do you think the number one platform is that people listen to us on?
Do you mean like what app or like what device? What app?
Yeah, like what? What app? Not what device, not what kind of phone, not what kind of computer, but what kind of app? Right.
Oh, I would say just because, and I don't know, I really don't look at that aspect of the numbers, but I would say just because iPhones are so popular, probably Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcast is the second one for us at 16%. At 31%, it's Spotify.
That's who I listen to us on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody I know who's listening to podcasts is listening on Spotify. So when I was looking at this, I was like, wow, Apple is still in the mix. And then I scrolled down some more. 12% is web browser, which I think is people going to our website and listening off the web browser.
Okay.
Off our website. Or maybe they're going to Buzzsprout and listening right in Buzzsprout. That's who hosts us.
Yeah.
Google Podcasts is number 4 at 11%. I heard they're closing that down. I didn't even know that had a user base, but it comes in number 4 for us.
Wow.
Yeah, so Google Podcasts was announced that it's getting shut down because they're rolling the entire podcast universe into YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking forever to do it. Yeah. I'm in no rush. We have like the amount of listeners that we have on YouTube is like 0.0005%. You know what I mean? So nobody goes to YouTube to listen to us. And then the fifth one here at 5% is Castbox. You know Castbox?
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many of these platforms, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is wild.
All right, well, scrolling down some more. We have mailbag. We have our news as usual. Oh, and we have a surprise game, sir. A surprise game has been brought to you.
You went 1 week without a surprise game, and you couldn't help yourself. You had to come back with another surprise game 1 week later.
I tried cold turkey. Didn't work. I'm still on the sauce. I love surprise games.
This is a surprise game relapse.
So you've actually played this game before. It's a sound effects game. Remember Brother Steve came and played a bunch of sound effects.
Almost exactly a year ago. He did that on Easter Day. We played that game.
And it was fun. And I'm completely stealing his idea and doing round 2. There might be a few on my list here that he actually showed us on the episode, several months ago.
Yeah.
Sorry for I didn't dedupe it. All right.
Okay. That gives me a leg up. I like that.
The rules are simple, Scott.
That's good, Bill. I'm a little simple myself.
So am I. That's why I've made this game very simple. All you got to do is tell me where it's from. You don't got to tell me who said it. You don't got to tell me anything else about it except where it's from.
2 hours later.
Well, that's from SpongeBob SquarePants.
There you go, SpongeBob SquarePants. You want to try another?
Bring it. That is from that is from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You're unstoppable.
Predator.
Or is it Woody Woodpecker?
That's what I thought at first. That's definitely Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Grinding his teeth. All right. How about?
That is firing up a proton pack from Ghostbusters.
You're doing great. I'm going to have to turn up the difficulty here.
All right. Sounds like a car of some kind. The first thing I thought was a pod racer. I'm going to go with the pod racer.
You are wrong, but in the ballpark.
Does this say DeLorean?
You should stay with the original movie franchise.
Oh.
This is in the Star Wars universe.
Can I hear it again? It's a speeder bike.
There you go. You got it.
All
The speeder
right.
bike. I always remembered that sound at the end when it goes, "Ooh," that weird sound. I've always liked it. All right. Not all of these are maybe from movies.
The more you know.
The more you know. Remember this? The more you know.
The public service announcement.
What the hell were those things? Like, who decided to put them out there? Were these like celebrities who had to do social service because they did something wrong? Like they had to go on TV and do a Now You Know?
That was like Pee-wee's thing, remember? The PSA.
Oh, that's right. He did have to do a PSA
Yep.
for the adult movie theater behavior.
I meant to do that.
You should never spank it in a movie theater.
Hey, guys. If you're going to yank your crank, keep it in your house.
If you know you're not allowed to do it, sit in the back row. All right, let's try some more.
Is this Tron?
It's not Tron. Now, I got to tell you, the beginning sound effect, I didn't recognize at all. I recognize the middle to the end.
All right.
So if you concentrate on the middle to the end, that might help you figure out what this is. No?
Top Gun.
Nope. It's a 80s TV show. It was like a primetime TV show. It was an action show.
This be Knight Rider?
It's Knight Rider. That's Turbo Boost.
Oh.
Right?
This is the later one, though, where he went into like ultra mode or whatever, where the spoiler came up.
Oh, baby. I only know the launch. Yeah, that's the only part I know.
That is the Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters.
Yep, that should have been on the easy list. Here's another one that should have been on the easy list.
It almost sounds too easy to be a coin for Mario.
It's called the Nintendo chime. But yeah, isn't that grabbing a coin or something?
That's what I thought it was, but...
All right, how about... I think this one's a tough one.
Oh. Yeah, that low bass of powering up. First it sounded like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, but I don't know if that's right.
Once again, sir, you are in the ballpark. You have figured out the franchise.
All right. One more time. Is that the sound of the Death Star?
No, it's a seismic charge.
Oh.
It's a seismic charge in one of the prequels. And I just remember when I wasn't the hugest fan of the prequels, but this was like they throw it out there that it's silence and then boom. Talk about like the movie theater experience. Like this sounded awesome in the movie theater. So
Yeah.
I never forgot that sound. That's a tough one.
So this would have been when Jango Fett dropped a seismic charge out of the back of Slave 1.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You got it. All right, you'll never get this one.
Eddie Murphy. That is from... I'm going to say
Everything?
that's from... Well, it is from Everything, but I think that specific one is probably from Trading Places.
I don't even know. I just I have Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
It's Eddie
I
Murphy.
think he laughs in every movie. That's the Eddie Murphy laugh.
You just died in Mario Brothers.
That's right.
Prism. This is HBO.
Nope.
HBO.
HBO. All right, I got a couple more.
Shall we play a game?
Well, that's from our favorite Matthew Broderick in War Games.
That's right.
Oh, this is definitely from like a Intellivision or ColecoVision or Atari. This is E.T. Atari?
Nope. It is an early Atari game. A very popular Atari game.
Jungle Hunt?
Oh, you're so close. There's a jungle. There's alligators.
Pitfall.
There it is. Pitfall. All right, this is the last one. I don't even know if you know this sound, but this is a sound that I walk around the house doing. Amy and I just crack up at this sound, and it's what made me think of this whole game. Do you even know this sound? All right, here we go.
I don't know exactly what it is, but it sounds like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Like along the lines of Grape Ape.
Nope. It's definitely not a cartoon. It is live action.
Oh.
Beady.
I have no idea.
Beady. So it's a little robot. His name is Twiki. I used to think his name was Twinkie, but apparently it's Twiki, and he's that little robot in Buck Rogers.
I don't think I've ever seen Buck Rogers.
If you look up this little robot, it looks like a little person in a metal suit. Like, it's just awful. And his accent, it's like, yeah, I'm going to get you, see? So he'd go like this. He'd go, right away, Buck. Like, it was such a strange robot sound, and he would say it before everything. The spaceships are attacking. So it's just beady. Like, nonstop beady through the Buck Rogers show. Beady.
And this is something you watch. That's how it came onto your radar, or is this just something you discovered together?
No, I've always known it. I always, even as a kid, walk around beady.
Completely off my radar, man. I had no idea.
Buck Rogers. All right, I knew that one was a risk. I didn't know if you'd know Buck Rogers. That might have been just a little bit above or before your time. And I think that's all of them here.
All right.
Oh, no, there's one more. One more very tough one.
Oh.
I put this one in just for you.
The ding makes me think it's from Deke. But xylophone.
Once again, Scott, you are in the proper universe.
Damn.
What's another one that we talked about recently?
Another one? Like another...
Yeah, another one of these animated production houses. Starts with an F. I think they made the other Ghostbusters cartoon that we were talking about one time.
Oh. It's like 3 letters, like not FYE, but like F. I don't know, man.
Nah, you're going to hate yourself when I say it's Filmation.
Filmation, damn it.
Yeah. Hey, you did pretty good there. You did real good. I think you got them all but Filmation and this guy. I hope you liked the game.
It was a good game.
Well, I'm going to read some mailbag to you.
Mail, motherfucker!
Oh, we got mailbag.
We got mailbag. And this one came from Sister Michelle,
who I know watches on YouTube.
She's our 0.0005% viewer. So Sister Michelle, she writes and she asks, your last podcast got me thinking about inventions. Have you done anything with inventions before? We did. We did something not too long ago. I guess it was about a year ago. I think we did inventors in movies. But she's talking about inventions that actually came to real life from the movies. And she gave us a link here from the New York Post, and I thought I would read you some of these.
Well, it's kind of funny because Brother Dan, who was on that episode with us, this actually was his original idea. And I misunderstood what he said, and I thought he wanted to do inventors from movies. He wanted to do inventions, too. But the only thing he came up with was the talk boy from Home Alone 2.
That's my first one on the list.
I figured it would be. It's the first one everybody thinks of. But go ahead. Let's hear this article.
Yeah, I never heard of this talk boy. So I guess they made it for the movie. It was Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
And he walks around with this fake Walkman. What can he do? He can record people's voices and play it back?
So remember in Home Alone 1 where he would play the television of Angels with Filthy Souls or Angels with Dirty Souls, and he would scare the pizza delivery guy and all that shit?
Yeah.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
Well, in this one, he can record his voice, and he can slow down his voice to make it sound like an adult so he can fool Tim Curry into thinking he's his dad in the shower. So same gag, different device to do it. So that's what the talk boy was. It was a recorder, a tape recorder that you could record your voice and then change the speed to alter the sound.
That definitely was not around when I was a kid. I probably would have enjoyed that. That seemed like something I would have liked.
I had a Fisher-Price one that could do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a commercial here, the Talk Boy commercial, and there's the Home Alone kid in the commercial. So he's hawking the product.
And this was made by Tiger Electronics, I think, right?
I don't know. That I don't know. Sure I know. It says right here. Manufactured by Tiger Electronics a year after the movie was released.
There you go. And I remember Tiger Electronics being the company that made those terrible, shitty video game systems. Yeah, the handheld video games.
I remember
Fuck you,
them.
Tiger.
They were bad.
Real bad. It was like playing. I had more fun playing with a calculator than some of those fucking games.
Typing in 80087355. Turn it upside down, everybody.
I'll never tell.
Here's another one on the list. Not so much a product that was invented, but a whole hockey team. The Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
Is an actual hockey team, and that came from a movie. Forgot about that one.
Disney got the franchise of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, who are now just known as the Anaheim Ducks. They dropped the Mighty part, but it was after the success of the Mighty Ducks.
So they weren't a team bought and turned into the Ducks. It even says here Disney entered a new team into the NHL. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an expansion team.
How about the poison-tipped dagger shoe from Bond's film From Russia with Love? So it says here that they actually made the shoe.
Like for spies?
Yes. We know the spring-tipped, poison-tipped dagger shoe was created by Dulles, who was Alan Dulles, the CIA director from 1953 to 1961. We don't know whether it was ever tested out, but he actually put the money into making the shoe.
Unbelievable.
And he also made another bit of tech. It says the other bit of tech was the tracking device that Bond uses when he's trying to track Goldfinger's car, Dulles said. But the device worked well only in open spaces. It stopped working when it entered cities with lots of buildings. Well, that sounds exactly like GPS. Another one here, Quidditch from Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling not only invented the Harry Potter universe, but she unwittingly created a new sport called Quidditch. Who the fuck is playing this? I've never walked by a park and seen anybody playing Quidditch, but all right, I'll believe you.
Probably the same people that are LARPers.
LARPers. We should go LARP someday.
Best LARPing I've ever seen? Paul Rudd in that movie where he was a big brother. Remember that? The fucking kid McLovin was there for, I forget what the hell it's called. It was him and your guy Stifler.
Yeah.
And they were big brothers.
Yeah, what was that movie, man?
I forget.
Yeah,
it was good, though. They went LARPing at the end.
And they dressed up as Kiss.
Yeah, they had like a fucking Minotaur truck from like a Minotaur energy drink or some bullshit. Well, I can remember everything about the movie except the name.
Role models.
There you go. You win.
Yeah.
You win.
Damn. I don't know how I remember that one. All right, last on the list here, Wonka chocolate bars from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's right. Wonka was a thing, right? They made Nerds, Gobstoppers. Nerds! When's the last time you had Nerds?
My kids get them all the time. My daughter loves them.
And then the last thing here, it says, hey, where is that hoverboard from Back to the Future 2? That's definitely one I think we all thought we'd have by now.
Yeah, how about it?
Well, thanks for sending that article, Sister Michelle. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Well, sir, that takes us to the news.
All right.
Well, curious about this article and what you think about it from the Hollywood Reporter. Scarlett Johansson in talks to lead the new Jurassic World movie. So they're going again into this whole Jurassic franchise, and apparently this is another reset. You know, maybe it's going to be in the same world, but it's not going to be kind of like how they added in who's that actor? They added in the guy who plays in Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt. So it kind of made the Jurassic World series different than the Jurassic Park series, and then they reunited the characters later on in that franchise. So now what I hear they're doing is kind of creating a third offshoot, and evidently we'll have Scarlett Johansson, which is weird because didn't she start out? She was like a really artsy actress. She did all these great indie things, and then she did this Marvel thing, and that was so bizarre for her. But now I guess she's cool doing mainstream things.
I mean, here's my whole thing, and I'd love to know when they're going to learn. Nobody's watching Jurassic Park for the people.
That's true.
You know, everybody's there for the dinosaurs. It doesn't matter who the human leads are. Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio from the first one. I mean, Jeff Goldblum was funny. That was interesting. But he wasn't the driving force of Jurassic World Part 2 or Jurassic Park 2.
Nope. No, he wasn't.
So, people tune in to see people get eaten by dinosaurs. And that's what the secret is.
Oh my fucking god, fucking dinosaurs, holy shit, what the fuck?
So is it good? Is it bad? I mean, I don't know. What dinosaurs are they going to have? That's the real question.
Well, I get excited when there's a really good director attached. So the movie did have, it says it's a script from David Coep, who writes a ton of stuff, and David Leitch, who I don't remember, or Leitch, Leitch, and I know his name from things. You know what? Let me do a quick search. Bullet Train, John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Fast and Furious. All right, so he dropped out, and evidently they're getting Gareth Edwards. So Gareth Edwards made, Rogue One. He made that first Godzilla movie. Now it's off the rails, but that very first movie was really good.
Yeah.
I think he's a great director. So that's interesting. I want to see what he does with Jurassic Park. And if he's as good a director as I think he is, maybe he knows what you're saying. Focus more on the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I mean, I really did like what he did in Rogue One. Rogue One was a good feel for a Star Wars movie, you know? It was different, similar, but definitely a different feel.
All right, here's another article from Deadline. It says OpenAI heading to Hollywood to pitch revolutionary Sora. So I told you guys about Sora a couple weeks ago. No, not the music thing. It's the video thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The video thing.
Suno was the music thing. That's how we have our theme song.
Yeah. Or what was it? I don't even remember.
I thought it was Suno. Yeah.
Nothing's named well anymore. It's all nonsense gibberish. So according to this article, some of the most important meetings in Hollywood history will take place in the coming weeks as OpenAI hits Hollywood to show the potential of its Sora software to studios, talent agencies, and media executives. So they're so sure that this technology can help them make faster special effects, without even having to go outside. You could make some videos just with AI, and you could save so much money with the CGI houses and turn things out a lot faster. They're going into town. They're going into LA to try to really pitch Sora as a tool to use in Hollywood. So this is the first time you've seen AI actually take a swing to get some of that sweet Hollywood money.
Yeah, I mean, I think I questioned you, so these things keep coming out, but what are we actually doing with them? And now they're actually trying to do something with it. So that is interesting.
There's a period when new tech comes out that everybody first starts with a little bit of fear, and they're a little bit, hands off. They're like, I don't want to touch it. It scares me. I don't understand it. But as we get more and more used to it, the fear starts to wear away. And then what starts to happen is you have fuck-ups online. You start hearing about fuck-ups where people went too far with the AI, like that Willy Wonka thing. Remember that? That Willy Wonka event? Like, now that showed the whole world how stupid it can get, and everyone gets a little bit more used to AI, a little bit more used to it, and so on and so on. As time goes by, people become less afraid of it. So now it seems to be a good time to be like, hey, this is here. It's not going away. We might as well try to sell it to movie studios. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Will this really be if this catches on, will this really be the first time that one of these AI developers is really making serious bank?
Actually, OpenAI is making a lot of money.
Really?
They're all making money.
Just by being inserted into existing apps and things like that?
Well, you got to pay for them. If you want the better value from those tools, you got to pay to lift restrictions. And they're all cheap. You know, it's $14 a month, $9 a month. It's that small number that you forget. So you end up paying for these things for months and months and months and forget because it's such a little amount. But yeah, it's not expensive, but they add up. Because I use for my video making and some of the stuff that I like to do for my art, I'm using them. And I probably have about 5 different subscriptions. So $50. It's about what I spend a month.
Yeah. These are like your new Xbox video game pass you've been paying for months and years and completely forgot about.
Yeah. You know what? When I edited that episode going, oh, yeah, I'm probably still paying for a game pass. I still didn't go to look to see if I was.
You know you are.
I know I am. I totally know I am. All right, our last story, sir. Just when you thought I wouldn't be talking about that old strike anymore. In the LA Times, California's filming exodus leaves Hollywood's essential workforce sidelined. So it's another article that's saying LA is having trouble rebounding from that strike.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of movie productions are getting out of LA. They're going to other places. So it says tightened budgets and out-of-state shoots jeopardize Hollywood's workers. Why is it taking so long to get Hollywood back to work? Many of them are struggling to find jobs due to a slow recovery. After the labor disputes were all worked out, something happened. People just started to go, hey, you know what? We're going to start shooting outside of LA. I don't know why. But now all these studio productions, they're way down. Here's a stat. So Disney has 22 live action films in various stages of production. Roughly 3 are based in California. Warner Brothers only has 1 feature out of 7 filming in California. Sony has begun production on 6 movies with 1 slated to shoot in California. Just 1. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned because we stayed till the very, very end of the credits because I thought that second movie scene was coming. When we sat till the end of Ghostbusters, I saw that, while the big thing about it was that they were going back to New York City, they did shoot a bit of it in Quebec.
I know Vancouver, Canada, was a spot where a lot of people shot. The Jason Takes Manhattan, that Friday the 13th, was actually shot in Vancouver. Yeah. There's like one day where they were able to grab a couple shots in New York, but the rest was in Vancouver.
So I guess that's a weird thing, though. Like, I always thought that movies shot all over the place, and the whole thing with Hollywood is that that's where the workers were that did the post-filming thing. That's where they did, like, the post-edit and all that stuff. I didn't think that actually filming in the studios was what made LA and Hollywood spin.
I'll drop a name here, but I was lucky enough to hang out with Mark Singer, the Beastmaster, in LA, and he took me to breakfast, and he gave me a little bit of a tour. And he's like, you know why California is so great for the movie business? And he drove me through different neighborhoods, from like Studio City through Burbank, some other places. And he's like, look at how everything is built. And I'm picking up exactly what he's saying. I go through an area, I'm like, this feels like New York. Go through another area, I'm like, this feels like Florida. Go through another, and that's the way it is outside of LA. It's strange.
Right.
Like, people came in and developed neighborhoods, and maybe, because of everybody going west, people with different concepts of how to do architecture came in and worked in this one area, Studio City. And then some other people came from maybe Virginia and worked in, Burbank. I don't know. But the areas are very different from each other. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I guess I know a lot of stuff is filmed in studios, but I feel like a lot of the stuff now that studio shot is all green screen and the stuff that you bitch about.
Yeah, and I can see it right away. Like Ghostbusters, I knew wasn't, green screen. It was shot outside. I do know that they had to put some green screen up because I know where the firehouse is and I know what's to the right of it, and they made it, look a little different. But the Indiana Jones movie, that was a green screen movie, I could tell. Yeah, it sucks. I love a movie that's filmed on location. So I don't know that this is bad news. It's just people are getting out of California, but they're still evidently moving to other places to film on location, right? Because they're going to places that probably doesn't have a movie studio. So maybe they're getting back to filming more movies on location. I hope that comes back.
Well, it's that's what the story seems to indicate to me. Because it's not like, they're shooting other places. It's not like they're making the entire movie someplace else. That raw footage is coming back to LA to get run through a production house and an editing house and it's going through all the different processes to get a finished piece.
Well, I remember saying it, and it's not because I thought of it, it's because I read it. But when the strike was happening, I remember saying on the show, like, this is going to fuck up a lot of things for a long time in California. And evidently it's true because they're still putting out articles that are saying things are still trying to heal over there.
Yeah, here we are.
Was the strike worth it? I don't know. I'm not a writer or an actor, so my life hasn't improved by the strike. The only thing that I can say Hollywood gave us, this guy.
He only came into my world today.
That's the only thing they gave us that's worth keeping. All right, sir. I am out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, brings another show to an end. So thanks everybody for listening. If you still feel up for it, I guess go see Ghostbusters, but I'm going to say it right now. I told you so. But yeah, I mean, like I said to you last week, go in with no expectations and you won't be disappointed. But thanks for listening. Tell a friend. Let's keep growing this thing, and we'll see you next week.
Yo.